Hello, Infiniteers! I've got King Mickey with me once again, and I promise I'll use some other characters throughout this series, but I paid a lot for this power disc, so I'm going to use him. I love the costume change power discs because they provide a fresh look for some of the characters, and I showed you him last time, but it had been a long time since I got a new costume change power disc, and when I used this disc for the first time, it felt like I had just gotten a brand new Disney Infinity figure, and that was an amazing feeling that I have not experienced in years. I really miss being able to pick up new characters for this game, but this was the closest I'll probably ever get, so that was quite a treat for me. But anyway, today we're going to begin building the first toy box that you saw in the playthrough, which is the World of Disney Castle. But before I do that, I want to talk about my design for this world, because longtime Kingdom Hearts fans will notice that the layout of my toy box does not match the layout of the world that's seen in the original game. This is what the world looks like on the navigation map in the original Kingdom Hearts game, and it makes it look like Disney Castle is the whole world. And when you play Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, that's all you really see of this world. Just a few rooms inside Disney Castle. But in Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, in that game we learned that the world is so much bigger than just the castle. There are wide, empty fields and grasslands, winding dirt roads, bluffs and canyons, and of course, Disney Town, which sits right in front of the castle. Recreating all of this as is in the Disney Infinity toy box is a bit of a challenge because I don't have the memory on my Wii U to build something this huge and open and still add in all of the detail that this world needs. So I needed to condense this into a more confined area, and this is the design that I came up with, and this is what we're going to build over the next 3 to 4 episodes. I placed Disney Town in front of the castle, just like in the original game, so that much of the layout is the same. But instead of placing the racetrack in a separate place by itself, I chose to make it go around the castle, and this allowed me to shrink the world to a scale that would work in the Disney Infinity toy box. As you can see, much of my world is open grassland with minimal trees, which matches the original game and fortunately helps me save memory. And I still have part of the racetrack going through a canyon, which you can see there on the left. Now I know the buildings don't match the original game, but I'm limited to the building pieces that Disney Infinity provides, and I'll talk more about that in the next couple of episodes when we build Disney Castle and Disney Town. Today I'm just focusing on the layout of the toy box, and for the build exercise today, we're going to build the terrain that will serve as the foundation for this world. As usual, I am starting off in an empty toy box, and all I've done so far is place the Sky Changer toy and the boom box, and I've set the sky and turned the music off. So let me show you what I've got here. So the Sky Changer, of course, you find that under the Instant Fun category, and you place that. And if you open up the logic menu for that and go into the properties, the sky that I'm using you find under Disney Infinity 2.0, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, it's the Misty Magic Sky. And I can't remember if you have to unlock that sky by purchasing it in the toy store or not, but that's the sky I'm using. And once you've set that sky, you can delete that toy. And the boombox I've just placed and turned the music off, so we'll leave that for right now. All right, speaking of the boombox, I know many of you will ask what the recommended music is. I think the default for the Misty Magic Sky is probably fine. I don't have a recommendation for anything better. I did listen through the different sounds, or different music tracks, and couldn't really come up with anything, so. All right, for the terrain, most of it is going to use the Tink's Treasures theme, and I'll set that to be my theme. I find this is a good balance between matching the brightness of the grass in the original Kingdom Hearts world without being too bright for the toy box. And another alternative would be the Phineas and Ferb grass. That would work okay as well, but I found that was a little bit too bright, and it didn't really fit well with the dirt road that we're going to use for the racetrack and some of the other textures, so I kind of liked this best. So there we are for our starting point. And let me grab my map here as we prepare to lay this out. Alright, so we're going to come over to this large terrain block, which is the exact same building piece that we're already putting down. And I'm kind of looking at the texture of it there and just making sure it's oriented the same. The starting pad faces that way, so I'm putting the first terrain block out here, and I'm going to place 3 of these. And we're going to do another 3 like that, and then we're going to switch to the next size smaller and put this out here on the end like this. And I'm going to run 4 of these down here like you see there. And then we'll go back to the larger one, place this out here, like so. I'm going to place 1 here, which is not going to be this style, but I'll change that in a moment. Place 2 more like this, and actually let's go all the way down. So we're going to need, I've already placed 2, we're going to need 6 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that takes us to the end of that one that we placed down before. All right. And then from here, grab the next larger one again. We can fit this inside this little spot here. And over this way. 2. This one will sit over here and this one there. All right. And then go to the next smaller again. I'm just, right now, I'm just blocking in the world here. Okay. So at this point, this is what you should have. Kind of zoom out a little bit. So we started over here on this block, and that's what we've got. Okay. Probably the next thing, we're going to switch textures a few times here, but let's finish filling in the base. So on this block here, we're going to change the style on this to be Lilo's Tropical Paradise. I'll set that to be the theme. This is going to be for the dirt/sand texture that's going to go underneath Disney Town. All right. And we're going to place 4 of these. So there's 1 we've already placed earlier that I just changed the texture for. This is number 2, 3, 4. We're going to slide all the way down and place the next one. And then we'll come back and place the second. And this one we're going to change back to Tink's Treasures. I'll set that to be my theme. There. So the sand texture will go underneath the castle as well. This is going to be for the courtyard in the castle, so that needs to be grass as well. So we've got a long strip of sand there. Okay. And then over here for the fields and the farm, let me pick this piece up and put it down. We'll come over here and place one, and then I'm going to change the theme on this to be Mickey's Fantastic Farmstead. I'll set that to be my theme. Texture changes, again, if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you know these are a great way to mix up the look of your world without consuming much memory. Because a texture change is a lot cheaper than loading a new model. And so far we only have 2 models. We have the smaller block and the larger block. Those are the only 2 building pieces we've used so far. And as you can see on the right, the memory meter is still really low, so that's good. Alright, let's change the theme now back once again to Tink's Treasures. And let's add some detail around the perimeter of this world, because right now it looks extremely flat. So I set that to be my theme, so any new pieces I put down will look the way I want them to look. And we're going to scroll over to the right, and I'm looking for the cliff pieces, the ledges. If I was smart, I'd have put a few of these down ahead of time. But I've been out of this for a little while, so didn't think to prepare. Alright, so this one we are going to line up right here on the end of this block, and you want to make sure it's over far enough to light up that next block without actually overlapping it. And we're going to put down 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And then off of this corner, I'll put another one right there. We're going to put one on the other side as well. Like that. Okay. Then we'll switch to the next smallest one. And these take up a little bit of memory, by the way, so you don't want to use a lot of these. So, I mean, these kinds of pieces use a lot of memory, so you don't want to use all of these. You want to kind of limit. We're going to limit it to 3. We're going to use this one, and I've already used these 2. Okay. All right. And we're going to use another one of these over on this side, and I'll place this here temporarily, but this isn't going to stay. It's just for helping us space these things out a little bit. Okay, so this one we want to butt right up next to that piece that we just put down, like that. We're going to put 2 of them down, and then we'll take one all the way down to the end, like that. And if you have the memory, you might even consider going around this edge and perhaps changing that one to be the farmer's field, although I think it would look better that way. But I'm not going to run those down that side. Alright, over on this side, I'm going to move this one over a little bit. We're going to space these out just a little, so that they're spread out a little bit, and that doesn't look bad. And again, I'm not going to run any down this side. I recommend you not either, and you'll see why when we build the cliffs up there. Alright, on the back side, I'm not going to put this here, but we're going to go down to the end of the second block. So this is going to go right here. And I'm going to put down 6 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll put another one down here in the middle of this block like so. And I'm not worried. I'm mainly worried about saving memory, so I didn't put 2 of those down. You're not going to really see this too much anyway over here because of the stuff we're going to cover that up with. So that kind of gives us a nice little ring around the world, so it's not quite so square. So I like that. Alright, now for the cliffs, and I think we're going to have to move this boombox out of the way. So we'll just slide this below the terrain. And we're also going to need to move the start pad. So let's put this over here. I'd like the player to start right in front of Disney Town with the castle behind it. So we're going to put this kind of centered in this area. We're going to back it up, put it just off the end of the sand there. So just like you see there. I think that's pretty good, and I think that's actually more centered there. Alright, we'll take this piece up and put it down, which gets us back to this part of the drawer, and we're going to go left. Now actually, before we do that, let's start with this block here, the small terrain block. So before we put the cliff pieces in, we need to know where they go. So we're going to place this right on the back corner over here, and I'm going to change the theme on this to be Mickey's Fantastic Farmstead. And it's not so much that I care what the grass looks like on top. I really like the way the side of it looks. It's going to go really well for the cliffs. Okay, so we're going to pick this up and put it down, and we're going to put 3 of these down. And then we're going to come over here, and we're going to build a total of 10 blocks in this direction. So we've already got 1. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Like that. Alright. We're going to put down a little block for use as a spacer. So we want to put this right on the end of this terrain block and slide it to the right till we get to this terrain seam. Okay. Pick that one up and put it down, and then we're going to slide over right to the edge of that block, like you see there, right on the corner. That tells us where that block needs to go. And then we can delete our spacer. And I will pick this up and put it down without moving it. And now we're going to put 1, let's see, that's 2. We need 4 more. So 3, 4, 5, 6 is our total. And then off the corner over here, like that. And I'm going to put 1 more over here. And that frames in the terrain for our cliff area with our canyon that our racetrack will go through. And now we can put in the canyon pieces to make this look nice. So if we scroll to the right, we come over here to these large cliffs. And we're just going to cover up the ugly square sides here all the way around. And this one we will put in the cliff corner. And this is where our climbing cliff goes. And this is why we don't need to put any of those little finishing touches around the perimeter of this, because the cliff goes right up to the edge of that. And I kind of want it to look like the world is cut off there a little bit, so that looks like the world kind of might go on in that direction. All right. Oops, that was correct. And then we're going to just fill in around our cliffs here as well. This has just a nice cartoony look to the side of the cliff. that matches this world really, really well. It matches what was in the original Kingdom Hearts game, because the World of Disney Castle had kind of a cartoony look to it. So we don't want this to look too serious. And this just fits that perfectly. And there we go. So there is our canyon for the racetrack and the top of the cliffs. And the player gets up over here, but to get to the other side we need a bridge. And so for that, we're going to scroll left from those cliff pieces till we find our nice little bridge, which should be coming up here any moment. There it is. That one, grassy bridge. And let's see, we want to place this. Let me get my screen grab here so I make sure this is in the right spot. So yeah, so if you count from the left, you got 1, 2, 3 blocks. This goes on the 4th block. We're going to put this right on the edge of the terrain seam like that. And I'm going to slide this over so that it looks like the base of that is not hanging off those cliffs any more than it has to. So that is perfect right there. So if you look at this from the underneath side, that looks pretty good. Doesn't look, except a little bit on the left, it doesn't look like there's any major overhang there. All right, and that's how they get over to Merlin's castle. So that is looking really, really, really good. So that's all of the terrain that we need for this toy box. Next time we're going to build Disney Castle, which is the centerpiece of this world, and the one location from the original game that players are probably the most familiar with. Thank you for watching. Before you go, please hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think of my layout design for this world in the Disney Infinity toy box. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What would you have done differently? I'd love to hear your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done that. That's all for me today. Take care.